Oh, it's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be?
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. We're going to be a neighborly neighbor. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Would you be mine? It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful, beautiful day in the neighborhood. Could you, would you be mine? Oh, would you be mine?
I hate that actually kind of fit. I mean, it was repetitive, but you had rhythm.
My first time.
You had rhythm. Wow. I mean, yeah, you had rhythm.
So why'd you stop singing?
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. Why'd you stop singing?
Congratulations. Give me a high five.
Why'd you stop singing?
Yay. We got, what's the name of it? A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Yeah.
Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. I'm going to hit your music before you, stop having rhythm.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go. Let's all go. Let's all go to the lobby.
You love broken people like me.
Sometimes we have to ask for help, and that's okay. I think the best thing we can do is to let people know that each one of them is precious.
So as kids, we never really truly grew up with Mr. Rogers. I mean, he was there, but he was not the one that we would go to in terms of public broadcasting. It was usually Sesame Street. It was usually Lamb Chop's Play Along. And then when we got older and when we moved overseas to Germany, we only had that one channel, AFN.
Yes.
Armed Forces Network. We only had that one channel, and we would always get up at the same time with our parents because they always had to get up at 5 o'clock, just head to base. And we'd have to get up around that same time to head to base. Mm-hmm. And when we did, we would always catch Sesame Street, a little bit of Lamb Chop's Play Along. And by the time the bus came, the McLaughlin Group. Yeah, that political show. That was our alarm for when it was okay, we're running late when we see the McLaughlin Group show up. But it was never Mr. Rogers as, our staple. He was there. We knew about him. We catch some episodes here and there over the time, but he was never our guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But this movie made me feel the way I would feel whenever I would catch a Mr. Rogers show.
Cry inside? Or you would just cry, period?
Well, more like I had a, smile throughout this whole movie, aside from the parts where it did make me cry 3 or 4 times. I don't know how it did. Maybe I'm just emotional lately. But this movie made me cry a few times. And it wasn't the usual beads of just hey, you're supposed to cry on this. It was there was a scene on the subway that for some reason touched me so much. And I'm why the fuck am I tearing up?
Oh, yeah, you had water coming out of your eyes. Yeah,
I was. But, we have A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, which is surprisingly not a Mr. Rogers biopic. It's about a story between Mr. Rogers and based on a true story.
It was loosely
based on a true story. The real story is about his friendship between him and a journalist named Tom Junod.
Tom Junod, yeah.
But in this movie, it's Lloyd Vogel.
And in case if you don't know Tom Junod, if you saw September 11 and you saw a guy falling out of a window, Tom Junod covered that story, and he covered, what is it called? The man falling out the window?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's what this was loosely based upon.
Yeah, but between the relationship between Fred Rogers and Tom Junod. But in this movie, it's about Lloyd Vogel.
Yes.
Instead, that's the guy that they have. And the way that this movie starts is actually pretty impressive because a lot of the transitions between major set pieces in various cities was still done in the Mr. Rogers style, where it's everything is kind of tilt shifted and puppetry and everything like that. And it really makes you feel like you're watching an hour and some odd long
Mr. Rogers show. Yeah, you do.
It really fits perfectly well. But again, this movie is not just about him. It's about, Tom Junod, a.k.a. Lloyd Vogel, played by Matthew Rhys. Tom Hanks as Fred Rogers is... I did not know.
Uncanny, because they look exactly alike.
There are some moments where they don't put a side by side. It's usually like... So a lot of times they're on set for Mr. Rogers.
Right.
And you'll see Tom Hanks do a bit of acting as Fred Rogers, come around and check the footage. And sometimes the footage would be Tom Hanks playing, Fred Rogers on there. A lot of times it'll be Mr. Rogers, the actual footage behind the scenes.
Rogers, yeah.
And it's so freaking uncanny.
Yeah.
It is so uncanny. This movie is freaking amazing.
Oh, it was good. It was done very well.
Oh my God.
And I was nervous because I had recently seen a documentary on HBO of Fred Rogers and everything that went into that. And I was like, now they're going to do like a little biopic with Fred Rogers, or how is this going to go?
Yeah.
It did not go the way that I thought it would. It actually went a whole nother way. Not only that, they touched on some subjects that you didn't feel that they would touch on, and they touched on those subjects very quickly, which is what Fred Rogers was about, but he did it with kids.
Yeah.
He just touched on some deep emotion, from divorce to death to love to loss to anger. All of that.
Yeah.
So it was done very nicely.
The same way that Mr. Rogers never really seemed to patronize children.
Yeah.
He's like, you guys are smart. You are human. You know how to process a lot of emotions. You know how to process a lot of these events. This movie didn't do the same thing. It didn't try to patronize you. It really delved deep into a lot of the things that Fred Vogel. Wow, that's a different person.
Yes,
that's a former head
fictional
coach.
person.
No. Fred Vogel was
he's a real person.
An NBA head coach. I got him mixed up. Lloyd Vogel.
Okay.
Lloyd Vogel. A lot of the stuff that he's going through, because it's a lot about his life as a journalist. Because how this movie starts, he's an investigative journalist that a lot of people don't like, because when he comes in, everybody's willing to open up with him. But what he writes about at the end, it kind of has them a little like, yo, what the hell, bro?
Yeah.
And they end up no longer liking him.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to get assignments. So he gets put on this assignment with Fred Rogers, just a 400-page, little
400 words.
Mini, you're right, 400-word little mini blurb about him. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. I got it mixed up. Okay, damn. But he only had to do 400 words, and 400 words ain't a lot. As a writer, it's okay. Just you're done.
To normal people, that's a lot of words to write.
Anyway. It's just a nothing story, and he wants to make something big out of it. He wants to be that investigative journalist. He wants to dig deep into Fred Rogers' life and find something hidden in him, find the dark side of Fred Rogers. And he starts needling him throughout a lot of these interviews. Like, isn't it hard to be your son? Isn't it hard to be your son with you as a father? Isn't he a saint? And every time he and the people around him dispel the mythos that he's created about Fred Rogers, and instead it's just like, he's human. He has to work at this a lot. He gets angry. He gets mad. He gets sad. He is human. And what he's doing here is just helping people out to, and I say people, not just kids, people out to deal with their emotions. And throughout Lloyd Vogel's interactions with Fred Rogers, he starts becoming, a little bit more open on his own. And there's a lot of nice set pieces. There's a lot of amazing scenes in this. Like, this is just incredible the way this movie presents itself. Again, the trailers made me think, okay, it's just a little quick biopic. We're going to find more about Fred Rogers. And I didn't learn more about Mr. Rogers, because like Mr. Rogers is somebody that, who's been in households for decades. You've done some of the research on them. They've done documentaries on them. Yeah, I think since 1967, 68, I want to say. I want to say it's a little bit earlier than that, because he was able to he was able to talk about the Kennedy assassination. So I think he had his show a little bit longer than that.
It might have been.
Yeah. But yeah, he's been around for decades. And this movie really does a damn good job of just showing you the kind of person he is and how he interacts with other people, especially people who are dealing with their own emotions, their own issues with their family, with their father, with their mother, just like Lloyd Vogel is. As I said, Tom Hanks did an amazing, like an incredibly uncanny ass job of being Fred Rogers. Yeah. Jesus Christ, he's so daggone good. Matthew Rhys as Lloyd Vogel, just amazing. And you were trying to figure out who Andrea was. Susan Kalecki Watson.
I don't know why I thought she was from Hamilton.
She kind of looks like Peggy.
Yeah, she does.
She kind of looks like Peggy. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. But like everybody in this movie was great. One of the things I really want to talk about just real briefly as we talk about our good, and then we get into our bad if we have any, and then we get into our score. The sound engineer and the way that they, the way that they handled a lot of the sound was perfect, because there are some moments where Lloyd gets angry and you can hear this slight whining rise when you know he's getting over the edge. And it happens frequently, but it happens subtly. It doesn't change the way that the outside background works. No. A lot of times, like, they'll cut down the music and just let you live in the silence of a certain scene. And it really just kind of like raises a bit of tension, raises like, you know, it makes you want to feel for these characters that you see on screen.
Yeah, they kind of went into, and I kind of felt what he was feeling, and hearing that whining, you know, like
anger rising.
Yeah, and that anger is toward a family member.
Yeah.
Or someone that is really close to you, you never thought would take you there. And then it just kind of feels like everybody on the outside is like, you know, hey, they're trying to do this, they're trying to do that. Just take it for what it is.
Yeah.
But when you're like in that moment and you feel that anger, it's hard to listen and understand what the outside people are saying, especially when you are dealing with it yourself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I felt Lloyd's anger, and I understood where he was coming from. And I was like, yeah, I get that. I understand it. And yeah, that whining,
it's like a tea kettle, right?
Yeah, and like you hear that in real life, and you're just like, oh my God, I just want to snap.
And a couple times he did.
He did.
And a couple times he did. And
I was like, you know what? Hey, I get it. It is what it is.
Yeah. I can't honestly think of anything bad about this movie.
I can't either. I'm pretty sure it is, but I can't.
I went into this expecting it to be like 2.5 hours long, because like it's a Fred Rogers movie.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot to talk about. This movie is just an hour and 49 minutes.
Yeah.
It goes by quickly.
It does. It is a Fred Rogers movie, but it wasn't a Fred Rogers movie.
Yeah. Like I was expecting a biopic. I was expecting, you know, some sort of, you know, deep dive into Fred Rogers. And like, no, this was just a really nice movie that just, you know, included him and his relationship. It was fictionalized, but like it was based on a true story. But it works. You know, an hour and 49 minutes is not long, and it doesn't feel long. It doesn't drag at all. There are some moments where like it does kind of get to a point, but it's necessary. Yeah. It's very necessary to dig into a lot of those scenes. And I enjoyed pretty much every single second of it. Yeah. That I could. Like, I didn't want to leave. Like, there were some moments where it's like, man, I gotta take a piss. And it's like,
I'm pretty sure that's highly unnecessary. That
whatever.
Nobody wants to know that.
They know what it's like when you have to go to the bathroom. You're just like,
they don't want to know that.
Whatever. Anyway, you know what it is. Anyway, you didn't want to leave. You
could have just left it at that. Moving on.
See, I was moving on, and you kept it going.
Because that was not professional.
I don't care. Anyway, you didn't want to leave. You didn't want to leave. You wanted to sit in your seat. There were a lot of times where you get like a short movie, and it's like, man, it feels like it's dragging. Yeah. There's nothing like that going on here. It's pretty and damn impressive.
Yeah. Everything fits. Even going back from Mr. Rogers scenery to the puppetry.
Oh, yeah.
Everything was
Those transitions were
included
great.
nicely.
Those transitions
Nicely.
were
Because
great.
in the beginning, I did get worried, like, oh, is this how we're going to do this? Like, you know, the scenery of Mr. Rogers' name. And then
Like
we're
too childish.
Yeah. And I was like,
no.
is this what we're going to do?
No, I started to enjoy those.
Yeah, it actually worked. I was like, oh, that's a nice transition. It actually works.
Yeah. It really worked well. We got nothing bad to say, so go ahead and go for the score.
I give it 5 stars. I give it 5 stars.
Damn. I agree. I got to give it 5 stars. I don't see what more you would want out of a movie like this. It's great. I can't say it's 100% flawless, but I can't see any flaws. I didn't see any issues with this movie. Everybody was perfect in this. The transitions were great. The music was great. The acting was phenomenal. Tom Hanks was just out freaking standing.
Yeah.
By the way, Future D, as you're editing this, Tom Hanks as Fred Rogers, amazing. I saw a picture of Tom Hanks where he let his beard grow out, and all of a sudden he's like zaddied up. So like he went from Fred Rogers to god dang Silver Fox after this movie. I'm gonna show you the picture.
I was gonna say
I'm gonna show you the picture. I'm gonna show you the picture.
I thought you were gonna talk about Castaway.
No. He looked like a fucking zaddy on like on steroids.
Oh yeah, you have to show me that.
I'm gonna have to show you that.
He must be doing another movie after this.
He must be, because like god damn. Anyway, but like Tom Hanks as Fred Rogers was just freaking phenomenal. It's like a 1-to-1 representation of who he was on screen, and I can't get past that.
Yeah,
like it was great. So definitely 5 stars. One big takeaway that you can take from this movie is
your nostalgic childhood.
Not even just that. It's more to the fact that it's all work. It's all about work. You will be mad, you will be angry, you'll be sad. It's okay to feel your emotions. It's okay to dig deep into the kind of person you are, and it's okay.
Is this what we're doing right now?
Yes, we are.
Why?
Because I want to. It's okay to do all those things. It's okay to feel how you feel, but it all takes a lot of work. And where we are right now in the world that we're at right now, in the political climate and all of that, we need more people who are willing to work at just being a better person. And I got to work at it. You got to work at it. We all got to work at it. And it's okay to stumble and to backslide. But as long as you continue to improve, because that's what it's all about. It's all about improving. It's all about personal improvement. It's all about personal growth. And that's just one of the things that I really took away from this, that made me smile throughout this whole movie, aside from the moments where it's like tugging at my freaking heartstrings. So let's all be better. Now we're done. Is that okay?
Thank you. Yes, because I don't know what the hell that was.
That was me speaking to our people. To
So you're trying to be Fred Rogers Jr.? What's going on here?
No, just having a conversation.
Okay.
Like we can
if
have
you
a
agree with us,
and
comment down below. Make sure to check out our website so you can get our fabulous merchandise.
HEELKAIJU.com/shop.
There you go. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so
Help
we
our
can
channel
give you
grow.
more content. And anything else you want to say?
No. We'll catch
Should we all zen for a moment, D?
I mean, why shouldn't we?
Or
Why shouldn't we?
Oh my God, we're gonna end it.
Why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we?
Kaiju's out.